Can't hold, you won't be rich. If you can't hold, you won't be rich. If you can't hold, you won't be rich. If you can't hold, you won't be rich. Ah, that's the mantra for the day, folks. That's the mantra for the day. Anyway, we got CZ out and about again. Binance founder Peng Zhao just dropped another post that's shaking up the crypto community. Many traders believe it's a cryptic sign that he's actually saying that Bitcoin just flashed a major buy signal. We're going to be breaking it all down for you. And remember, if you can't hold, you won't be rich. Can't hold, you won't be rich. All right, welcome back, Crypto Crew. It's your boy Tom here, bringing you the hottest in Bitcoin and crypto action. If you like what you see, give us a like. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you haven't already. If you've been under a rock and haven't seen us, you got to hit subscribe. You got to tell your friends about us. And remember, always, always, always come on over to X and follow us on X, where we talk about Bitcoin, crypto all day, every day. We are crypto maniacs. All right, let's get right into it. What am I alluding to? Look, check this post out by good old CZ. Now, he's not predicting the future, he says, and he says, don't get too excited, but a September in the past, my first crypto cycle, just data, market rallied like crazy, okay? Everybody talking about crypto fourth quarter going to be bullish. We got our friends Crypto Rover, we got our friends Mr. Crypto. We're all in this. We all basically do great technical analysis, but I actually think that my commentary is better. But anyway, that's just personal bias on my part anyway, right? So Bitcoin right now trading at 100 and what? 16,000, 117? No, 116.7. 116.7 right now, with today's range stretching between 112,792 and 116,554. It could not fill the CME market gap as of now. It cannot fill the CME market gap as of now. Thought we were going to do it. Did not do it. The breakout price that we had at 111.6 was a monster breakout. And if you didn't really take it right out of the gate, you really had no opportunity other than to buy next level, support next level down, which only came down to like 112.7 yesterday before the next breakout higher. So when we're seeing this CME market gap not filled, we have one back at 97,500 that's unfilled. I've always said, listen, not all market gaps get filled. I always allude to, and I make it because it is just so, blatant. Back in the 1970s, there was an upward gap in the Dow Jones that has never been filled. Okay, so not all gaps get filled. It's kind of like a wives' tale, but it's true. Like 80%, 75 to 80% of gaps do get filled, and they get filled within the first 3 days. So the further that we move away from this gap, the further chance that this marketplace is very, very bullish, and it's just going to take off, and it's going to make all-time new highs, okay? Now, can we fill this gap? We're not far enough away from it to say that we're cleanly away from it. We're just not. We break through the all-time high, we could start to say, I don't think this gap is going to get filled, all right? So we've been talking about this, rate cut scenarios, and we said that, look, actually, that's do not close below chart, but we'll talk about this first before we go over it, okay? We have rate cut scenario 1 still in play. We said that we had to hold 107.1, or else we were going to get a deeper correction. We never got it. I'm kind of glad we didn't get it. I'm kind of glad we didn't get it for the novices that are in our group, because they would have, they would have been running around their houses with their heads on fire, and I'm glad that we didn't do it for them. For me, I'm not glad that we didn't do it. I wish that we did get a deeper dip, because that would have been a great opportunity, because if you can't hold, you won't be rich. If you can't hold, you won't be rich. Just keep writing it down. Keep saying it. That is the mantra. That is the mantra of the day. All right, so right now, let's go over to the do not close below chart. I mean, this is a very, very important chart that we've been using. Put this out on July 19th, 2025. Same old scenario. If you're new to the channel, We said that if we can't get above 124 odd, 115.7 has to hold, or else we're going to get a deeper retracement. We had two buy areas, 109 and the 106. We dropped down to 107.1. Market held. It actually came down to like, what was it, 108? I have really 108.6. So this is what, finance. I mean, if you look at Bitstamp, it's a little bit deeper, right? So every chart's a little bit deeper. I have like 108.6. Had the breakout at 111.6. Okay, I mean, perfect breakout we had. And marketplaces rallied. So now we're flirting with the 115.7. Very, very important point. Now, it's not the line in the sand yet, but it is still a resistance zone. Now, we're a little bit above it, not that far above it. Market actually has to take out like 118. Then we could start to say, maybe 115.7 is going to be a kind of a midpoint line in the sand. It won't be great. The only chance that 115.7 becomes a very severe, strong line in the sand for upward support is if we get through 124, like 125. Okay, then we could start to say 115.7 should be a good line in the sand for a retrace dip down to scoop coin. Right now, it's really just, it's a meandering point. It's going to go through and back and forth unless we get that rally shoot through 118. So we got a couple of points of resistance that we're going to talk about. But right now, as we said, the Fed scenario that we were talking about, Fed scenario 1 has been activated. We said that the red candles are the trap. The rally is the outcome. So far, we've been proven correct. We're not out of the woods yet, crew. We're not out of the woods. Okay, I'm not taking a victory lap yet. I will take a victory lap at that 111.6 breakout price. That thing was like just a monster. It was absolutely beautiful. So, I mean, it was a great breakout. So, to be fair, you got to say that was a good call, right? Really, right now, what we're saying is we're thinking that this is going to be the trade of the decade here. Okay, this is going to set the thing off to all-time new highs. So you don't want to miss it. You want to get into our private group. We've had some really good trades on Atom. They pick in some really good trades out there, quick hits here and there. They got long Atom at $4. I think they sold it at $4.22 or something like that. But so we know that Bitcoin itself is like repeating history. But before we do that, let's get on to our chart itself right here. Well, actually, let's talk about this. Because as I allude to like CZ here, where he talks about September, right? So if we come over to this chart right here, all right, we're looking, Bitcoin's basically done the same thing with the rate cut in September 24 and this year. So far, we had the 7% and almost exactly, percentage dump to the T. Pretty crazy, So, I mean, sometimes markets, they don't generally repeat exactly, but they do rhyme, right? So we had a 7% dump in September, and the story stays the same. So history isn't random. The weak hands, they got caught. Strong hands rode the parabolic move that we're going to get. Now, we're not out of the woods yet. We break through 118 within the next day or so. That's going to be a good sign that we're going to be attacking the highs. Then, the 115.7 would be a pretty decent line in the sand to hold. But this is a breakout prelude, So if we look back where we said CZ, I'm going to take you back to his post right here, where he said, come on, get over there. Right there, he said, not predicting the future, right? But September in the past has been really, really monstrous. And, we're seeing the same thing. If we look at Bitcoin in October, we're seeing the same thing. 2020, we had a liftoff. 2021, we had a liftoff. 2023, 2024. Now 2025 is, it sits in the same pocket. So the script is loading, and we're thinking that parabolic, it's going to start to go parabolic. It's going to start here. Parabola. I have a hard time with that word. Sometimes, I wrote down parabola. Tough word to say, especially if you had 5 espressos. Parabola. if you can't hold, you won't be rich, something like that. Anyway, so history is really clean. It's actually pointing in the right direction. So when we're talking about this guy, right, he's the founder and former CEO of Binance. He posted an old Bitcoin chart showing Bitcoin back at 4,300 back in 2017. If we come on over to his post right here, and he's saying, during one of crypto's most famously bearish Septembers, what followed, October and Q4 were explosively bullish. So Bitcoin ripped over 2% higher to reach 19,000 before the 2018 bear cycle. So let's get into our 2-hour chart work like we do, the infamous 2-hour chart. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Okay. Here was the breakout price. All right. So we said 111.6 breakout. There was only one chance, and it happened before I actually did the video. It did not come back down. It was actually like 113 at the time. I said, we can. At first, I thought we were going to get a pullback down to like 110. And that did not happen. So I'm going to erase that line because that's absolutely useless right now. We said that we would have resistance at this upper time, 114, with a pullback. At this point, I was thinking that potentially we can go back to that CME market gap, but it did not happen. It only went, where did it come down to? It came down to what? Right here. It came down to like 112.7. So there was, I mean, you had to buy. You could have done, a Fibonacci retrace, and you could have got probably maybe a 5-point half retrace from the bottom here up here. Now you probably get like a 6.18 retrace there, which would have been a good buy. So that's past history. So what's happening right now? So we make the new high at let's say 117. So where's the support right now? The support's like right here, 114. So that's the level that's got to hold short term. Now, could we get this pullback? It would be great if we could, because I would think that this is going to be a great entry. Stop would have to be like down, over in this area right here, because you could get a deeper retrace, perhaps even a 112. But if you can't hold, you won't be rich. If you can't hold, you won't be rich. Anyway, so right now this is the support point right now. There is resistance 117.371, and of course at 118 the figure up here. I'm really more concerned with the 118 than I am with the 117.3. It's a kind of a minor resistance, so I want to keep it there, but I want you to be aware of the 118. That's the monster resistance. Then look at this. The upper tine of the pitchfork sits at what? 120,000. Okay, so right there, 120. So we know that's going to be resistance. So as it stands right now, if you're not long, and if you just say, listen, I'm going to grab some coin here and I'll buy some more down at 114. That's a viable play. It's kind of starting to move a little bit quickly now. So I don't think that you're going to be afforded the luxury of being able to wait too long for a dip, in my opinion. Get into our live trading group. We'll help guide you through. Do you have any questions? Especially you got to watch that Ethereum, man. Ethereum's getting ready. It's getting ready to pop off at any time. And as we said, Ethereum, it's going to be walking the ladder soon. And we're going to be talking about that. But if you look at October, where we said October is like the month for Bitcoin, right? Look. If we go back and we say, look, if we look at 2017 versus 2025, we had the same pullback in Bitcoin, okay? And we know that Bitcoin itself, the October is the secret weapon. Look, we had a pullback, right? And then we had the monster move upward. Same exact things, same exact setup is occurring. We're looking for a monster move upward in it. And we know that Bitcoin itself, October is the month for it, and we look at gold versus Bitcoin. We talked about this before, but I want to get my charts in order. I'm missing my October month. Hang on. There's my October month. I had it before. Okay, so we had the 2020 liftoff, 2021 liftoff. We went over this. So now what I want to do is I want to take you over to like how the script is actually repeating, right? So we went over the 2-hour breakdown. Here it is. Here's the script repeating exactly like 2017 against 2025. Pull back right to the support, bang, monster move up. This is really what CZ was talking about. There was that 19,000, okay? He's saying the same thing is happening right here in 2025. We had the pullback. We had that 107.1, that had to hold, or else we were going down into a deeper retrace. So far, we said scenario one is playing out. We're looking for Bitcoin to take off. Of course, it's going to have resistance at 124 odd. Yes. But that 115.7 should actually come in at that point and offer some really good support. So that's what we're looking at. We're looking at the script is repeating right now. We're looking for Bitcoin actually to perhaps get down to that 114 level again. But it's too, the script is too clean to ignore, really. I mean, it's here. So like I said, it's starting to speed up a little bit. And when the market starts to become fast on the upside, that means there's a lot of shorts that are trying to cover. So we'll see what happens up at 118, because if 118 blows up and then goes straight to the highs, then we know there was a lot of people that were short. And then you could be sure that the short, the stronger hands that are short are going to be patient. They're going to wait for a pullback, perhaps back down to that 116, 115.7, and they're going to buy coin. But if we showed you gold before, and I want to show you this again, like we said that gold always gets like the front of the liquidity. Gold, silver, conventional real world assets, stocks, not bonds so much, but stocks for sure, the markets themselves. And crypto is near last to get the liquidity. And it's really when gold finishes its movement, or people start to diversify, where they start to look for other alpha, this is when Bitcoin takes over. Okay, so right now, Bitcoin it started in 2017, gold peak, Bitcoin exploded. In 2020, gold peak, Bitcoin doubled. And then in 2025, we got gold that's kind of peaking. It's still, I don't think it's done yet, but the super cycle is starting to load right now. Money's going to flow into Bitcoin. The flows are written. The next Bitcoin super cycle is loading. It's all here for you. It's all. Get into our private group. We'll give you some other, pointers. We'll point you at silver. Well, we said yesterday silver was sitting at what? Was that sitting at the resistance at $46? Right now it's 47.35. So if we could break 46, we're heading towards 50, and then 55-ish, maybe, 55. So there's a lot of movement. There's a lot of movement going on right now. So now we know Bitcoin itself, it does love the fourth quarter. We're in the fourth quarter, and we're in it. Fourth quarter, the Bears are in a goal line stance as American football. Now, soccer, would they'd be playing a defensive position in soccer, right? They'd be actually trying to just keep the ball over the midline, right? But American football, they're in a goal line stance right now. They're trying to protect the end zone. But really, if we look in the past, Bitcoin loves Q4. 2023, 93% pump. 2024, 112% pump. 2025 is loading right now. If history rhymes, Q4 2025 is going to be the trigger that is the next large vertical leg. Strong hands know what comes next. If you can't hold, you won't be rich. Okay? Now, remember, back down in 2023, really we didn't have BlackRock, Fidelity, State Street involved in this. Can you imagine the trading desk, what they're going to be like once they break through 124,000? It's going to be mad. It's going to be mad. They're going to be grabbing coin like crazy, because they're going to be looking to sell that coin, get rid of that coin to their investors. They're going to invest for them. So they're going to be looking to, sell it off, and they want to make a profit, right? So if we're going to go on over to Ethereum right now, the Ethereum, the ugly girl at the dance that turned into a beauty, a queen, a beauty queen. We look at Ethereum right now, all right? Right now it's holding around 4,287. Range today has been 4,094 to 4,000 what? 4? Something like that, 4,315. Ethereum has been strong, supported by inflows, of course, and institutional products with ETF buzz. But here's a catch with it. Okay, some Ethereum's holders might rotate profits back into Bitcoin if Bitcoin dominance stays up. So the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio is the key chart to watch. I don't think it's happening. You know, a lot of analysts are saying watch out because they could sell off their Ethereum to grab Bitcoin. I don't think so. I think they're going to stay pretty much balanced in their portfolios. So, but if we look at the Ethereum timer right now is near zero. We had 45 days of June chop that birthed a huge liftoff. 45 days in September chop that ignited the same script. We are now day 53. The coil is complete. The strong hands are locked in. The weak hands gave up on the coin. We told you don't give up on the coin. And we're going to ask you, which side you're going to be on when the blast hits. Now, remember, we told you we had to get above this level right here, 4,005. We're very, very close to it right now. It just needs to breach that, and Ethereum is just going to be ready to take off because it just recreated 2021. If we look at Ethereum, it had the dead cat bounce, same exact thing in 2025. Dead cat bounce, final retest. Market is starting to break up off of it. We're looking at Ethereum going parabolic. Dead cat, retest, ignition. Back then it ran from $200 to 4,000. Now Wall Street's in this, right? BlackRock, Fidelity, State Street, all the big boys. 10,000 isn't speculation. It's already programmed in the script for Ethereum. Get in our pro group. We'll guide you through it. Okay? We'll guide you through it. Okay? We've been trying to get you through with these videos. But, if you need more help and you want to just hang out with like-minded traders, get into our free group, man. You can't beat it. Now, we got Wyckoff screaming from the grave. That's the ladder. We're going to walk on that later. That's the buy to dip. Where's my Wyckoff ladder? Come on, man. I got my Wyckoff ladder somewhere. Hang on a second. 1 second. Here's my Wyckoff chart. I lost it there for a second. Too many charts, man. Too much espresso. Anyway, it's playing Wyckoff. Wyckoff screaming from the grave. Screaming from the grave. Okay? Did you see the spring? Did you see the test? Did you see the show of strength? Did you see the last point of support hold? Every step has been locked in this Wyckoff setup. Okay, now comes the show of strength again, the breakout up towards 5,800, 6,000. Short-term chart, daily chart can get us up to 6,000 pretty quickly. So now the markup starts to load. So we got five-digit Ethereum is coding. Look, this is the one I was showing you just before. We're actually walking the ladder, right? Ethereum's walking the ladder. 2018, we needed to get through 1,440. 2021, 4,000 to 4,800. 2025, the breakout was at 4,000. And every step is building the ladder. It's climbing the ladder. If you look at the ladder, the targets are 6,500, 8,000, and 10,000. 10,000. So Ethereum is well on its way, folks. So make sure you grab some Ethereum for that portfolio. And again, get into our pro group. Will help you out. Let's look at well, that's the one. We told you about this one. I mean, we said, look, buy the dip zone, 16% down, 16% down. If you actually only got down to 14 before the market actually took off. So we were kind of right about that. That's actually the full chart right there. I mean, you could see the dip right there. Let's move over to Bitcoin dominance. Okay, right now, Bitcoin dominance is up a little bit. Okay. And that's kind of like cooling things off. And altcoins for the time being, where's good old XRP at? XRP is 293. That came up off the lows of what, 280, 283. So it still hasn't broken above that $3 psychological level for XRP. But once it does, I think it's going to get a little bit stable. And then again, 307 is the gatekeeper, 315 resistance, 323, so on and so forth. But right now, all coins across the board, they're printing modest gains about 3%, with DeFi and Layer 2 names leading. Analysts are floating the term alt season, but we're still waiting for that to materialize. We need Bitcoin dominance to fall below 57.5. Okay, then you can start to say, okay, we got a good alt season. Okay, so right now, they're a balancing act. You got to get good coins. Got to get good coins. We like a few. Make sure you get into our pro group. Again, I know it sounds like, Tom, stop with the pro group. dudes and dudettes. It's free. It's free. So anyway, altcoins are a balancing act. Momentum is building by any sharp Bitcoin pullback. Could actually pull them a little bit lower, would actually offer a good scoop point. But I don't think we're getting a sharp pullback in Bitcoin. So if we look at altcoin market itself, we look at the total market itself. We showed you this chart before, okay? We said that the cup was drawn, it was actually built in blood. The handle was built in fear. We're just starting to get the breakout and away from the handle. It's going to be a multi-trillion cap destiny for this. So just, we're almost there. I know we keep saying it, but look, markets are markets and they take their time in getting to where they're going to go. They just don't listen to me. I wish they did. I wish they did. But anyway, so as it stands right now, before we wrap up, I got to make sure that you're well aware of our trading community that I keep alluding to. Links are in the description right here. You click this link right there, you'll be taken over to our pro group. All the information there is to join. You could actually find us also on X. We made this X post also. Look at this. Unlock 20% welcome bonus, 0% fees forever. WeX just made the cheat code. I mean, that's awesome, right? We also teamed up with BTCC right here. They're giving a $500 US dollar giveaway. Both are excellent brokers, okay? We've teamed up with them. They're running a $500 US giveaway for New Year's. We fully back each one of them. So if you're ready to jump into high trading performance, click the links below. If you're interested in trading, you could come out, check out my little my little shop over here, my little site, and where I'm your chief dealer, keeping you sane in insane Forex markets, and also a boot camp that we got going that's for free. Real cool. We're going to be talking about Wyckoff and things like that in there. So what's going on right now? As I said, okay, we got scenario 1 playing out, okay? So right now, as it stands, we got cascades of liquidations are still the biggest threat in Bitcoin. Macro events, inflation, Fed policy still remain key, but they're off the board right now. We got Bitcoin that's rallying. We got resistance at 117.5 right now. I'm really interested in a 118 resistance. Ethereum itself, Ethereum's got to get through 4,500, 4,600 for the breakout to actually start to happen, to get through this top at 5,000, start rallying for the next leg. We got rotation flows. Watch Ethereum altcoin gains that if they can cycle back into Bitcoin. I don't really think that's happening. I think that really they're going to be a balanced portfolio at this point. Because Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street, they're all looking at Ethereum. They want to accumulate Ethereum, just insane. So can this CZ effect actually swing the market sentiment massively? Traders are thinking this is the bullish call. So remember, come on over to X. Follow us on X where we talk about Bitcoin, crypto all day, every day. So what do you got to do? Well, you got to think about joining our pro group for one. Okay, it's completely free. Second thing you got to do, if you don't do that, you got to do your own research. After all, I am just a trader like yourself. I'm not a financial advisor. Even those guys and gals aren't that great either. I'd rather talk to a trader than I would a financial advisor. But anyway, I digress. The next thing you have to do is you got to trade with your head, not over it. Don't bet the rent money, okay? And also, as Larry Height once said, don't bet the deli to win a pickle, okay? Don't bet the deli to win a pickle. And remember, always, 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 as a short-term trader, enjoy the party, but dance near the door. Let's hope that I get my title right today. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Cheers.